The tapestry of life unfurls uniquely for each individual, yet a common thread binds us all: the journey of aging. As we step beyond the vibrant rush of youth and the steadfast rhythm of middle age, a new, often tranquil, phase emerges: the golden years. For many, this period, particularly between the ages of 65 and 75, is perceived as a well-deserved respite, a time for quiet reflection and gentle living. Yet, beneath this seemingly calm surface lies a profound truth. These 10 years are not merely a gentle deceleration, but a critical juncture, a golden age of longevity. It's a period where the seemingly innocuous habits, the subtle choices we make each day, silently weave the very fabric of our remaining years, determining whether our twilight will be long and vibrant or prematurely dim. We often observe those who grace their later years with an almost luminous vitality, defying the conventional narrative of decline. What secrets do they hold? Is it merely good fortune? Or is there a deliberate, conscious effort that shapes their destiny? The answer, as many centenarians and wise elders have shown, lies not in grand, sweeping gestures, but in the meticulous cultivation of a beautiful and healthy lifestyle. It's about understanding that while dutiful children offer immense comfort, true longevity and a fulfilling old age stem from self-reliance and an unwavering commitment to one's own well-being. This self-sufficiency, this proactive guardianship of our health, becomes our greatest asset, preserving not only our physical vitality, but also our precious independence and freedom. Consider the common misconceptions that often subtly undermine these crucial years. Many believe that after decades of hard work, they've earned the right to simply let go, to surrender to the comfortable routines that have solidified over a lifetime. However, it's precisely within these familiar patterns that hidden risks often lie. Small daily activities or ingrained mindsets that, unbeknownst to us, can quietly chip away at our health, making old age far more challenging than it needs to be. The wisdom of self-care isn't a luxury. It's a necessity, a lifeline in a world where even the most loving family has their own lives to lead. So, what are these crucial actions, these subtle yet potent habits, that determine our fate in the golden age? How can we navigate this sensitive decade, recognizing and rectifying the practices that might inadvertently shorten our lifespan? Through the experiences of those who have embraced their later years with vigor and serenity, we can unearth invaluable lessons. This story will delve into the often overlooked symptoms, the everyday choices and attitudes that, when unaddressed, can lead to premature decline. We will explore how a shift in perspective, a conscious reevaluation of our daily rhythm, can unlock a profound transformation, ensuring that the years between 65 and 75 truly become the foundation for a long, joyful, and independent life. Before we begin, I'd appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1 below. In the bustling heart of Maplewood, nestled amongst the whispering pines and vibrant community gardens, lived Elias, a man whose hands bore the gentle creases of time and whose eyes held the wisdom of 72 years. Elias had always been a man of routine, meticulous in his daily habits, yet lately, a shadow had begun to creep into his otherwise sunny disposition. It wasn't a physical ailment, but a gnawing anxiety, fueled by the whispers of local fortune tellers and the endless scroll of online prophecies. Every creak of his old house, every minor ache, was interpreted through the lens of impending doom predicted by a hastily read horoscope or a vague online divination. His daughter, Clara, a pragmatic woman with a keen eye for her father's well-being, noticed the change. Elias, once a keen gardener, now hesitated to plant seeds, fearing the unfavorable alignment of stars. He consulted every local oracle, spending a significant portion of his modest pension on charms and readings, convinced that only by deciphering the future could he avert an imagined catastrophe. 3 parts are determined by heaven, 7 parts by effort, he would often quote, yet in his current state, he seemed to have forgotten the latter, placing an overwhelming burden on fate rather than his own agency. This fixation wasn't just a mental drain, it was subtly affecting his physical health. The constant worry tightened his chest, disturbed his sleep, and made him less inclined to engage in the very activities that had once brought him joy and vitality. His once lively walks became shorter, his laughter less frequent. One crisp autumn morning, Clara found Elias poring over a faded astrological chart, his brow furrowed with concern. "Dad?" she began gently. "Remember Mrs. Henderson down the street? She just turned 95. Still volunteers at the library, sharp as a tack. Do you think she spent her golden years worrying about what the stars said?" Elias looked up, a flicker of something new in his eyes. Clara continued, "Longevity isn't found in tea leaves or crystal balls. Dad, it's built, day by day, with healthy choices, a calm spirit, and meaningful connections. Imagine all the energy and money you've poured into these predictions. What if you invested that in your garden? Or in a new hobby?" The conversation, a gentle seed planted in Elias's anxious mind, began to germinate. He started, tentatively, by canceling an upcoming fortune-telling appointment. Instead, he took a longer walk that day, feeling the sun on his face, a warmth he hadn't truly noticed in weeks. He realized that the greatest peace didn't come from a predicted future, but from the simple, tangible act of living positively, nurturing his mind and body, and building genuine relationships. This symptom of relying on fortune-telling wasn't just a quirky habit, it was a silent saboteur, diverting his focus from the real determinants of his well-being. By choosing to reclaim his agency, Elias took the first crucial step towards truly authoring his own fate, transforming anxiety into active, joyful living. Agnes, at 68, possessed a youthful spirit that often belied her years. She was fiercely independent, a trait she had cultivated throughout a life of self-reliance. However, this very independence, coupled with a lingering sense of her past physical prowess, was slowly becoming a silent threat. Her home, a charming two-story house with a beloved but precarious attic, was her sanctuary. Despite Clara's repeated suggestions to hire help, Agnes insisted on doing everything herself. From changing light bulbs on a shaky stepladder to reaching for forgotten boxes in the attic, balancing precariously on old stools. "I'm still strong, dear," she'd declare with a dismissive wave of her hand, unaware of the lurking danger in every unguarded step. This symptom here wasn't just a lack of caution, it was a denial of the body's natural aging process. As we age, flexibility wanes, balance becomes less stable, and bones grow more brittle. A fall, once a minor inconvenience in youth, can become a life-altering event in later years, potentially leading to severe injuries, prolonged immobility, or even permanent bedridden confinement. For Agnes, the risk was palpable. Clara often pictured her mother tumbling down the stairs or slipping on a wet patch in the garden, a vivid fear that spurred her to act. She gently, but persistently, pointed out the scattered rugs that could trip Agnes, the dimly lit hallway leading to the bathroom, and the worn steps of the attic stairs. One blustery afternoon, Agnes, reaching for a high shelf in the pantry, overextended herself. Her foot slipped on a loose mat, and she barely caught herself on the counter, a sharp pain shooting through her arm. Shaken, she sat down, the gravity of the near fall washing over her. When Clara arrived, she found her mother unusually quiet. "Mom," Clara said softly, "it's not about being weak. It's about being wise. Our bodies change, and adapting our environment is a sign of strength, not surrender." She suggested simple modifications, grab bars in the bathroom, better lighting, and the strategic removal of tripping hazards. Agnes, humbled by her close call, finally listened. She allowed Clara to help rearrange her living space, making it safer and more accessible. She invested in a sturdy reacher tool and accepted Clara's offer to handle tasks that involved climbing. This shift wasn't a loss of independence, but a redefinition of it. By carefully acknowledging her body's limits and proactively safeguarding her environment, Agnes not only protected her physical health, but also preserved her quality of life. She realized that living peacefully and avoiding unfortunate consequences wasn't about defying age, but about embracing its wisdom and moving through life with deliberate, careful steps, directly impacting health and well-being. As Arthur aged, his ability to earn diminished. making him increasingly reliant on his savings. Yet his reluctance to touch them created a self-imposed scarcity. It's for safety, for comfort, for living. What if you need medical care? He began to hoard every penny, consumed by an irrational fear of future financial insecurity. What if you want to enjoy your grandchildren more? He began to feel isolated, declining social invitations that involved any expense. Margaret's words struck a chord. Arthur, for the first time, truly considered the cost of his extreme frugality. His meticulously planned budget, once a source of pride, now bordered on obsession. And constantly fretting over potential, albeit unlikely, financial disasters. He realized that his financial independence meant to secure peace. He delayed necessary home repairs, skipped medical appointments to save on copays. His children, witnessing his increasing distress, tried to reassure him, was instead chaining him to a life of unnecessary deprivation and anxiety. He began, slowly, to release his grip, and even ate expired food rather than buying fresh, all under the guise of accumulating wealth for old age. But Arthur's anxiety had taken root too deeply. One day, Arthur's old friend, Margaret, paid him a visit. The irony was that he had accumulated wealth. He scheduled the long-overdue dental appointment, allowed himself a small indulgence like a new book, a woman who had lived a life of reasonable enjoyment, despite not having Arthur's substantial savings. But his fear prevented him from using it to secure the very peace it was meant to provide, and even started contributing to a local charity, an act that unexpectedly brought him immense joy. This symptom, an excessive accumulation of wealth coupled with an unwillingness to spend, exuded a calm confidence. She recounted her recent trip to visit her grandchildren. Arthur, a retired accountant with a sharp mind and a lifelong habit of frugality, he learned that early financial planning isn't just about accumulation. Often stems from deeply ingrained habits or past financial hardships, a memory that clearly brought her immense joy. Arthur, on the other hand, looked gaunt and worried, but about wise spending and controlling worries. Found himself in a predicament he never anticipated, despite a comfortable pension and a lifetime of savings. While financial planning is indeed crucial for old age, an imbalance can lead to immense stress and anxiety. Arthur, Margaret observed kindly, you've worked your whole life. You've been diligent. What's the point of having a full savings account if it brings you no peace? Money is not just for sustenance. Martha had always been a whirlwind of activity. Even at 67, she maintained a rigorous schedule, convinced that staying busy was the secret to staying young. She ran her household with the efficiency of a military general, volunteered at 3 different organizations, and still insisted on doing all the heavy yard work herself, despite her creaking knees and frequent aches. If I stop, I'll rust, she'd declare, pushing herself through fatigue, convinced that any sign of slowing down was a weakness to be overcome. This symptom, the refusal to acknowledge the body's changing capacity for work and recovery, is common among those who've always identified strongly with their productivity. Between 65 and 75, the body's ability to bounce back from exertion significantly diminishes. Overexertion, particularly in heavy labor, can lead to serious health problems, from exacerbated joint issues and cardiovascular strain to increased risk of strokes. Martha, though outwardly vibrant, was often silently battling exhaustion, her nights filled with restless sleep and her mornings marked by a lingering stiffness that she stubbornly ignored. Her family worried, seeing the fatigue etched beneath her determined smile, but their pleas for her to slow down were met with resistance. One afternoon, while pruning a particularly dense rose bush, Martha felt a sharp, searing pain in her shoulder. She dropped the shears, her arm hanging limply at her side. The pain was unlike anything she had experienced before, a direct result of years of ignoring her body's quiet protests. Forced to rest, she found herself with an unfamiliar amount of free time. Initially, boredom set in, followed by a wave of frustration. But as her body slowly began to heal, a new awareness dawned. She picked up a book she'd been meaning to read for years, rediscovered the joy of quiet reflection, and even allowed herself to be pampered by her daughter, something she'd always resisted. The forced rest became a revelation. Martha realized that her strength had been a double-edged sword. pushing her beyond her body's limits. She learned to adjust her work habits, delegating heavy tasks, and focusing instead on light, moderate activities that truly rejuvenated her, like gentle walks in the park or quiet mornings spent knitting. She understood that the balance between activity and rest wasn't a sign of weakness, but the very key to living healthily and peacefully in her later years. Her shoulder, though mended, served as a constant reminder. To live fully, one must also know when to rest, when to yield to the body's natural rhythm, and when to truly honor the invaluable gift of health. Eleanor, a woman who had lived through an era of scarcity and wartime rationing, carried the habit of extreme frugality well into her 70s. Every penny was stretched, every scrap saved. She ate leftovers for days, even when they were clearly past their prime, and wore clothes until they were threadbare. Scraps saved. Her children, now grown and financially secure, urged her to enjoy the fruits of her labor, to spend a little on herself. But Eleanor, ingrained with the mantra of waste not, want not, found it almost physically painful to indulge in anything beyond the bare necessities. A new coat, a fresh meal out, or even a simple treat felt like an irresponsible extravagance. This symptom of being overly frugal, while seemingly benign, can have significant negative impacts on an elderly person's quality of life and even their health. Nutritional needs can be neglected by eating stale or inadequate food. Social isolation can set in due to reluctance to spend on outings, and overall enjoyment of life diminishes. Eleanor, despite her children's comfortable lives, felt a constant, quiet shame about spending, a habit that prevented her from experiencing joy and comfort in her golden years. Her apartment, though clean, was devoid of any personal touches or new items, and her meals, while filling, lacked variety and essential nutrients. One cold winter morning, Eleanor woke up with a bad stomachache. She realized it was likely from the leftover stew she'd eaten, which had been in the refrigerator for too long. Later that week, her granddaughter, Lily, came to visit. Lily, a bright and observant girl, noticed how thin her grandmother looked and the drabness of her clothes. "Grandma," Lily asked innocently, "why don't you ever buy yourself new things? You've worked so hard." Eleanor tried to explain her philosophy of saving, but as she spoke, she heard the words sound hollow even to her own ears. Lily, with the wisdom of youth, then asked, "Grandma, if you can't take your money with you when you leave, what's the point of not enjoying it now?" The simple question, devoid of judgment, resonated deeply. Eleanor had always believed that money was for security, but now she began to see it as a tool for living, for experiencing, for joy. Slowly, tentatively, she began to allow herself small indulgences. A fresh bunch of flowers for her table, a new, comfortable pair of shoes, and most importantly, fresh groceries for a delicious, healthy meal. She realized that frugality, when taken to an extreme, became a self-imposed prison. By learning to spend wisely and take care of oneself, Eleanor found that the quality of her life improved dramatically, adding not just comfort, but a newfound sweetness to her later years. George, a widower of 70, had lived in the same charming, albeit slightly aging, house for over 40 years. Every creak of the floorboards, every worn patch on the armchair, held a story, a memory of a life well lived with his beloved wife. His children, well-meaning and concerned about his increasing isolation, began to gently suggest he sell the house and move in with one of them, or perhaps into a modern, smaller apartment closer to their families. "It's too much for you to manage, Dad," his son Michael would say, "and you'd be less lonely." George, though he loved his children dearly, felt a deep sense of unease at the prospect. This symptom, the pressure or inclination to abandon a familiar home for the perceived benefits of moving, often overlooks the profound emotional and psychological impact it can have on the elderly. A home is more than just shelter. It is a repository of memories, a source of stability, and a cornerstone of independence. Uprooting an elderly person from their familiar environment can lead to a profound loss of identity, a feeling of being dislocated and out of control, and even contribute to depression. George, while acknowledging his children's concerns, instinctively clung to his independence, understanding that his home was a vital extension of himself. One evening, While looking at old photo albums, George saw pictures of his children growing up in that very house, of family gatherings in the garden, of his wife tending to her roses. He realized that these walls, these rooms, held the essence of his entire adult life. He also observed his friend, Henry, who, swayed by similar arguments, had sold his lifelong home and moved into a new, sterile apartment. Henry, despite being closer to his children, often spoke of feeling like a guest in his own life, constantly adrift and longing for the familiarity of his old surroundings. Inspired by Henry's experience and his own deep connection to his home, George decided to take a stand. He sat his children down and explained, not with anger, but with quiet conviction, why his home was so important to him. He proposed a compromise. He would accept help with maintenance and even consider hiring a part-time caregiver for heavier tasks, but he would not sell his house. His children, seeing the genuine peace and strong sense of self he derived from his home, understood. By prioritizing his familiar living environment and maintaining his independence, George not only preserved his physical safety and comfort, but also ensured his continued sense of self-respect and belonging. He showed that true care for the elderly sometimes means respecting their roots, allowing them to remain in the sanctuary of their own cherished memories. Sarah, a woman of 73, had always been proactive about her health. However, as she aged, the natural aches and pains became more frequent, and her worry escalated. This worry made her increasingly susceptible to the deluge of advertisements for miracle health products. From exotic dietary supplements promising eternal youth to expensive home medical devices guaranteeing instant cures, she bought them all, her credit card statement a testament to her desperate search for a quick fix. Each new purchase brought a fleeting surge of hope, only to be replaced by disappointment when the promised results failed to materialize. This symptom, the susceptibility to unproven health products and fads, often preys on the anxieties of the elderly as they face declining health. While the desire to improve health and extend longevity is natural, blindly chasing every new health trend can lead to significant financial waste and, more importantly, distract from truly effective, foundational health practices. Sarah, driven by fear and cleverly crafted marketing, neglected her regular doctor's appointments, believing a newly acquired immune booster was more potent than medical advice or a balanced diet. Her cabinet was overflowing with bottles of supplements, many of them untouched after a few doses, yet her underlying health concerns remained. One day, Sarah's doctor, Dr. Eris, noticed the growing list of health products she was taking during her annual checkup. Dr. Eris, a compassionate and wise practitioner, didn't scold Sarah, but gently explained the science behind true wellness. "Sarah," he said, holding up a printout of one of the expensive supplements she was taking, "your body doesn't need these costly concoctions. What it needs is consistent care, a plate full of colorful vegetables, a regular walk, enough sleep, and regular checkups with me to catch any issues early. These are the real miracles." He showed her studies debunking the claims of many of the products she had bought, and highlighted the importance of a healthy lifestyle as the cornerstone of good health. Sarah, initially defensive, slowly absorbed Dr. Eris's words. She realized that she had been seeking shortcuts, chasing the promise of effortless health rather than investing in the consistent, disciplined effort required. She started by decluttering her supplement cabinet and reallocating the money she would have spent on dubious products towards fresh, nutritious food and a gym membership for seniors. She committed to her regular medical checkups and began a daily walking routine, noticing a gradual improvement in her energy and mood. By discerning true wellness from marketing mirages, Sarah not only saved a significant amount of money, but also took genuine control of her health, finding that the real miracle lay in the consistent, time-tested practices of a balanced lifestyle. Robert and Evelyn, married for over 50 years, had navigated the myriad challenges of life together. Now in their late 60s, they found themselves spending more time together than ever, as their children were grown and busy with their own lives. However, this increased proximity, coupled with the natural stresses of aging, had begun to fray the edges of their once unshakable bond. Petty disagreements escalated into prolonged silences, and minor annoyances became sources of deep-seated resentment. "He just doesn't listen," Evelyn would lament, while Robert would retort, "She always finds something to complain about." This symptom, the erosion of the spousal relationship due to unresolved conflicts and a lack of understanding, is particularly detrimental in old age, as the primary support system shifts from children to the life partner. The quality of this bond becomes paramount for emotional well-being. Conflicts and arguments not only create stress that impacts physical health, but also diminish the spiritual encouragement and companionship that becomes increasingly precious as one ages. Robert and Evelyn, despite their lifelong devotion, were becoming increasingly isolated within their shared home, their days clouded by unspoken frustrations and growing emotional distance. Their granddaughter, Sarah, sensed the tension during her visits. She remembered stories of their vibrant youth, of their easy laughter and shared dreams. One afternoon, she found Evelyn tearfully recounting a minor argument with Robert. "We used to be so close," Evelyn whispered. "But now it feels like we're just roommates, constantly bickering." Sarah, recognizing the depth of their unspoken pain, suggested a simple exercise. For 1 week, they would each list 3 things they appreciated about the other person every day and share them before bedtime. It sounded trivial, but Evelyn, desperate, agreed. Reluctantly, Robert also agreed. The first few days were awkward, the compliments forced. But gradually, as they consciously sought out positive aspects, they began to rediscover the person they had fallen in love with. They started small. "I appreciate how you always make my coffee just right," Robert would say. "I appreciate your patience with my stories," Evelyn would reply. The simple act of vocalizing appreciation began to chip away at the walls they had built. They started listening to each other more intently, practicing tolerance, and sharing their daily joys and frustrations with renewed empathy. The old couple dynamic, as the saying goes, truly meant that their partner was the most important person to accompany them to the end of life. By actively nurturing their relationship, Robert and Evelyn not only brought peace back into their home, but also ensured that their golden years passed gently and happily. As we draw the curtain on these stories, a profound truth emerges from the narratives of Elias, Agnes, Arthur, Martha, Eleanor, George, Sarah, Robert, and Evelyn. The years between 65 and 75 are not merely a waiting room for the inevitable, but a vibrant canvas upon which we continue to paint our lives. The fate of our longevity, the quality of our twilight years, is not sealed by external forces or predetermined destiny, but largely by the conscious actions and attitudes we choose to adopt. It is a powerful testament to the idea that we are, in many ways, the authors of our own destiny, especially as we age. The symptoms we explored, from clinging to superstition and denying physical limitations to excessive frugality and neglecting vital relationships, are not flaws, but rather ingrained habits that, when unexamined, can silently undermine our well-being. The moral of these stories, etched deeply into each character's journey, is clear. You have to change your life according to your age. This isn't a call for radical transformation, but for a mindful adaptation, a continuous self-improvement that embraces the wisdom of aging while actively countering its potential pitfalls. It's about recognizing that flexibility of mind and spirit is as crucial as physical flexibility. The wise elderly understand that true wealth isn't just financial, but encompasses robust health, meaningful connections, and an inner calm. They learn to discard what no longer serves them, be it debilitating anxieties, rigid routines, or outdated perspectives, and embrace what truly nourishes their mind, body, and soul. They acknowledge their limits with grace, cultivate financial prudence without deprivation, find joy in simple pleasures, and cherish the profound comfort of familiar surroundings and loving relationships. This conscious engagement with life, this willingness to learn and adapt, is the ultimate secret to a fulfilling old age. So, as you step into or navigate these crucial golden age years, remember these lessons. Be proactive in safeguarding your health, discerning in your choices, and compassionate with yourself. Release the unnecessary burdens, embrace the joy of self-reliance, and nurture the relationships that truly matter. For in every thoughtful action, every conscious decision, and every shift in perspective, you are not just adding years to your life, but life to your years, ensuring that your final chapters are filled with peace, independence, and an enduring sense of vibrant well-being. The canvas of your later years awaits your strokes. Paint it with wisdom, intention, and boundless joy. Thanks for watching. Hit the bell icon for the daily updates. Please do like, subscribe, and share with your friends.